We're nearly finished with our Hawaii postcard for Photoshop Classroom Book Chapter 4. There's just a few more things we need to do. Let's go back to our Layers panel, go back to our postage and turn it on. And it's up to you as to where you're going to put that postage postmark. Now notice if I try and grab those individual items, I'm having a really hard time grabbing postage. I'm going to go ahead and go into my Layers panel, hit Postage, and use my arrow keys to go ahead and help me grab that a little bit easier. It's just one of those, you've got a lot of layers, a lot of things going on, so you need to decide kind of where you want to put that. I'm going to go kind of for the center, but it's totally up to you as to what you're going to do with that part. Alright, so one of the next things we need to do, oh, I clearly moved my clouds, so I need to squish those back over. Use my arrows to do that. Alright, so in order to finish the postcard, I want to go ahead and put a border on it. My border is one of the things in the front, so we want to make sure that it goes in our stacking order on the top. So I'm going to hit Island Paradise, and I'm going to go to the bottom, hit New Layer here at the bottom, the one that looks like a post-it note. From there, I want to do Select and All, so it will select the entire artboard. I want to go Select, Modify, and Border. And I want to go ahead, you can make it really thin, you can make it thick. I'm going to go ahead and make mine 15 and say OK. But you'll see nothing happened. But I can see that I've got the dancing ants. Part of that is because I've not told it what color to be. I'm going to go ahead and choose my foreground color here. You can choose white, you can go ahead and choose a color from your postcard. Totally up to you. Grab that funky green. I'm going to go to Edit, I'm going to go to Fill, and I'm going to choose foreground color and say OK. So now I've got that funky green, if I do Control D, around my postcard, which matches everything else that I've got so far. And I'm going to go ahead, instead of layer 1, double click and say border instead, so that I know what my individual layers are. I'm going to do a Control S and save what I've got. So we're nearly done. If you look at our document right now, if you go down to document sizes, down by your percentage, it'll actually tell you two different numbers. These are the numbers that show how big the item is as it is right now versus how big it is if you flatten it. The first one is flattened, the second one is unflattened. You'll notice there's a huge difference between those two numbers. When we are working with documents, a lot of times we want to make them as small as possible. So there's a few things we can do. What we can do is called flatten the image. You want to make sure you're saving a copy of your PSD and a flattened image, because once you flatten it, you cannot go back in and make changes. And you may want to go back in and make changes, say before you put this in your magazine or in a publication. So let's go ahead and go to Image and Duplicate. And it's going to say, what do you want to call it? We're going to call it 04 Flat, so we know which one it is. And we're going to say OK. And you'll notice that now I have two different documents. I've got my working document and I've got my flat document. But flat isn't flat yet, so I need to actually go through and flatten that image. So I'm going to go up to Layer. I'm going to go down here to Flatten Image. And all those layers now are one layer. And I can't go in and make any changes. So I've got one individual image, not an image with lots and lots and lots of layers. So in InDesign, sometimes it's a lot easier to dump in this flat one rather than your layered version because of how much memory it takes up. So make sure that you're putting things where you want to put them. Alright, let's go ahead and File, Save As. Make sure that it's flat.psd and push Save. You're going to go ahead and turn in the flat one and the working one for this assignment. So turn in flat and working. You do not need to package. And that completes this one.